The officers on my porch wore plastic badges from a Halloween store and lugged bright red propane tanks as if they were trick or treat bags. They'd just finished soaking the boards in lighter fluid when the deep, mechanical thump of a helicopter tore through the morning air. Seconds later, a real SWAT team came sliding down ropes through the pine canopy, voices booming over a bullhorn. Drop the torch and get on the ground immediately. My name is Eric Donnelly, and my cabin in Pine Ridge Harbor was supposed to be my quiet weekend retreat, just cedar siding, a simple fishing dock, and the occasional call of a loon across the lake. But the local HOA had different dreams, dictated by their president, Beverly Chastain. She measured a neighbor's worth in lawn symmetry and obedience to her ballooning rulebook. From day one, she despised my unsanctioned rustic aesthetic, calling it a threat to property values and accusing it of sparking architectural anarchy. At first, her harassment was small but relentless. Letters arrived weekly, absurd fines for illegal waterfowl congregation because wild geese visited my dock, a $300 charge for grass relieving along my natural shoreline, and even a citation for unlicensed structures that turned out to be my hammock between two trees. Each notice came in an oversized envelope with the HOA logo stamped 3 times, like repetition made it law. Then she got bolder. I caught her on a pontoon boat at dawn, snapping photos of my cabin with a telephoto lens like some deranged lakeside paparazzi. When I ignored her invented fines, she began showing up unannounced, measuring dock posts, photographing my trash cans, and making it clear to neighbors that she was planning to remove eyesores permanently. Harold Garrison, a neighbor down the shore, quietly warned me she'd been asking around about demolition permits and property abandonment laws. I assumed it was just bluster until that Saturday morning. The pounding of boots hit my deck, followed by shouts, "Lake Authority, open up immediately!" I peeked through the blinds and saw 5 men in mismatched tactical gear, dollar store badges dangling, and one carrying a black spray-painted squirt gun like it was a real sidearm. 2 others hauled propane tanks toward the porch with chilling precision. That's when the rotor blades grew louder, the rear vibrating as a black helicopter swept in low over the lake. The fake cops froze mid-step. Then the real SWAT unit dropped in like divine retribution. Commander Jackson's voice boomed through the megaphone. "State Police Tactical Unit, drop what you're holding and get face down now." It turned out my neighbor, retired SWAT Commander Frank Paulson, had been tracking Beverly's erratic behavior for months. When he spotted her goon squad creeping toward my place through his military-grade binoculars, he called in his old unit using emergency channels only law enforcement knew. The response was instant. The imposters hit the dirt. One was crying before the zip ties were even pulled tight. Offshore, Beverly, watching from her pristine white pontoon, tried to gun the engine and flee. She stalled it instead, yanking the starter cord like she was trying to fire up a stubborn lawnmower. Paulson cut her off with his own patrol boat, boxing her in. Chaos erupted. The fake cops were lined up on my lawn, their bargain bin costumes pathetic beside real tactical gear. One claimed it was a prank video, but the propane tanks told another story. Beverly screamed from her boat, waving her laminated HOA ID as if it were a badge of immunity. A SWAT officer waded in, hauled her ashore, and read her rights while she wailed about her designer shoes soaking in lake water. They found $10,000 in payments from embezzled HOA funds to her hired ass and crew money hidden behind fake invoices for landscape improvements. Forensic accountants uncovered $40,000 stolen during her presidency. Charges rained down: conspiracy to commit arson, impersonating law enforcement, attempted property destruction. The hired men faced up to 15 years. Beverly's list of charges carried the possibility of 20. Her trial was a spectacle. Beverly arrived in pearls, her expensive lawyer painting her as a misunderstood civic servant. The prosecution shredded that image with text messages instructing her crew to leave nothing standing and to strike while I was inside. Star witness Derek Hoffman, one of the fake cops, flipped for a lighter sentence, producing diner napkin sketches where Beverly marked X for propane placement. Her own HOA board turned on her. Treasurer Margaret DeWitt testified about targeted harassment campaigns. Thomas Brennan described meetings hijacked by her, our long rants about my cabin, including a proposal for a community-funded wall to block it from her view. The coup de GRC came from her husband Ronald, who described her M violation writing binges, private investigators, and threats to divorce him if he interfered. The defense floated a stress-induced insanity theory, blaming my cabin's architecture for her breakdown. The jury needed just 47 minutes to convict on all counts. When the judge sentenced her to 8 years in federal prison and $200,000 restitution, Beverly crumpled, sobbing about her ruined real estate license. By then, the county had a new favorite. Meme, a photo of Beverly in handcuffs, SWAT gear in the background, and a tactical officer politely carrying her pastel pink tote bag.